I'm going to show you how to use the Autocrat add-on to create a mail merge. Now, in the past, when having students fill out an application, for example, this kind of fake Avid application I just created, I would print it out and students would have to handwrite their answers. Now, it's so much easier if they typed it. It's easier for me to read than reading like 8th graders' messy handwriting. So I want students to type up their answers. If I were to give this document to students, it might not look very beautiful when they turn it into me. They might delete things like name or student ID. I've had students delete entire questions. I've also had the problem when students fill the information out that you end up with all these extra spaces and things get on 2 pages and it becomes a mess. So what I prefer to do now is have students fill out a Google form. So I've created a Google form that I would send out to students to fill out the application. It would have all the information that I had on my previous document, such as their name, their email, their grade, and then the questions that they need to answer. Now, when you have a Google form filled out, you are able to collect the responses in a spreadsheet. And so here is the example of the spreadsheet. Now, a spreadsheet can be hard to read. Like, it's easy enough to read their first name, last name, email address. But when they're filling out short answer type questions, it can get a little unwieldy to be able to read it. You'd have to kind of change the column widths. You'd have to change how the information is shown in the columns. And it can be kind of a challenge to be able to read this. So what we're going to do is run a mail merge using Autocrat. Now, I need a total of 4 different things for this to work. First, I need my Google form that's collecting all the information. Next, I need the spreadsheet that collects the information, and this is automatically created from your Google form. The third thing I need is a template document. And this template document is a document that's going to look exactly like you want the information to look on your finished merged document. So here I have it where it has name, email, student ID, current grade, and the questions. And I have it, if you notice, it says first name, but then there's these little carets around first name. Then I have a space, last name. I have the same thing, I have carets around all of the different like tags or type of information that I want to collect. And I just made this up. I put fave subj or hardest because I didn't want to write out the entire thing. But that's okay as long as they have those little brackets or those little carets around them. I can change the font, the color, the size of the font, however I want it to look, I can make it look. What's going to happen is once they fill out their first name and turn in the form, it's going to pull each kid's first name into the first name part, each kid's last name, each kid's email, etc. So I have my Google form, the spreadsheet, my template block document. And the last thing that I need is I need a Google Drive folder. So I've created a folder here called Autocrat Avid Applications. And this is where all of the applications, once they've gone through the mail merge, are going to live. So now that I have those 4 things, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the spreadsheet. And in the spreadsheet here, up at the top of the sheet, there is a tab for add-ons. You're going to click on add-ons, and I already have Autocrat added. But you are going to go to get add-ons if you've never used it, and you're going to choose Autocrat, and you're going to approve all the settings or authorize. You're going to say yes, I give it permission to access my email, etc., because you are going to want to be able to use all those different features. Now, when you first go to Autocrat, it's the first time you go within a spreadsheet, it's going to tell you to launch it. I've already created one with this spreadsheet, so it just says open. That's okay. So launch is what it will say. When you go to it for the first time, I'm going to say open right now. All right, so I have no merge jobs set up yet. So I'm going to click new job. This is important because I could actually set up multiple different merge jobs. Maybe I want one form for all 9th graders to look one way, and I want it to go onto a different template for all 10th graders, a different template for 11th graders, etc. So I could set up 3 different merges or 4 different merges. In this case, I'm just going to do one. The first step is to name your merge job. So I'm going to call it Avid Application. If I was setting it up for different grade levels, this would say 9th grade Avid Application. And then I'm going to say Next. And here I'm going to choose a template. So the template was this document that I created. Okay. So I'm going to choose from Drive. And this is my template. So I'm going to select it. And if you give it a minute, it will pop up, and it just did right here. So I can also see recently used templates that I've used in other merges. So sometimes that's helpful. I'm going to say Next and go on to step 3. In step 3, what it's asking is what is our merge tab? So in this spreadsheet, I only have one tab, Form Responses 1. If you had multiple spreadsheets or tabs, you would choose the correct one. It asks which one is the header row, which one has the names of each of the things that you're collecting, and then which one's the data row. So it automatically chose the correct ones. Now, what I need to do is I need to map the tags to the column in the spreadsheet. So these tags here, where it says first name, last name, email, student ID, this was what I put in carets on the template doc, right here, first name, last name, email, student ID. So I have to match that with the name of the column in this spreadsheet. So the first name one was first name, last name, last name. So I just need to match these all up right now. I do have the option, right now it's standard, I do have the option to put it as a hyperlink. So for example, if students turned in a link to a website or something they created, I could choose hyperlink, or if they submitted an image file, I could choose image. But I'm just going to leave everything as standard. And then I'm going to choose Next and go on to step number 4. Here's where I can name the file. So I want this file to be called Avid Application, but I might want to include the student's name in the file name. And so I can put in merge tags. But these merge tags need to be exactly what you see up in the title. So first name. So I put my 2 carets, first name, my 2 ending carets. I need to do a space, and then last name. So caret, caret, last name, caret, caret. And then maybe I want to include grade. So I could put like grade. And then I had that titled as current grade here. And so what's going to happen is when this creates a file for each student that fills out the form, it will be customized as the file name of the merged document. Then I can choose what type of document I want it to create. Do I want it to be a Google Doc or a PDF? For an application, I like to do PDF. And then I can choose what type of output. There's 2 types, multiple documents, which is the classic mode, or a single document. The difference between these 2 is if each time a student fills out this form, let's say I have 10 students that fill out this form. If I choose multiple documents, I'm going to have 10 individual documents, 1 for each student. If I chose single document, I had 10 students fill out the document, 10 students fill out the form, it's going to create 1 document where there's like 10 different pages, 1 for each student. So think about how you would want to use this. In this case, I'm just going to do multiple documents, the classic mode. Now, if you ever get confused about what these different things are, you can choose the help guide down at the bottom, and that will help explain these different settings to you. So now I'm going to go to Next, and I'm going to go to step number 5. I need to choose the destination folder. So this is the folder that we set up in Google Drive that is where all of the merged documents are going to go. So my Autocrat Avid Applications folder. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to then move on to step number 6. Now, honestly, I have no idea what step number 6 is. Basically what it does is it's going to add a column to my spreadsheet, and it's going to have the folder ID. There might be advanced ways that you would use this. I have no clue how I would use that, but there's probably some cool ways. If you go to Help Guide, you can find out. But for this, I don't need the reference number. So I'm going to go to step number 7. So here's where you can set the merge condition. Now, let's say I wanted to have one application that was specific to 9th graders, one that was specific to 10th graders. Maybe they looked different in some way. This is where I can add conditions. So it would only run the merge if the current grade was 9. Then what would happen is it would run that merge using a specific template. If I wanted all the 10th grade ones to be on a different template, maybe it was changed a little bit, maybe it had the questions in a different order, I have no idea, but you could do that. So I don't need that for this, so I'm going to delete my condition, and I'm going to go to step number 8. Now this is where you can share docs and send emails. So let's say I want all of these to go to the Avid coordinator, or all of these to go to the teacher. So again, if I had set up conditional like 9th grade, it could all go to the 9th grade teacher. The 10th grade one can all go to the 10th grade teacher. But I'm going to say share doc, and I can only choose PDF because I had PDF chosen before. I can choose whether I want the collaborators to be able to reshare that document, and I might not want them to pass it on. So I would say no. I can send from a generic no reply address. But here is where I can fill out in the email, so who I want the email to go to. So I'm going to put in the email address of who I want it to be sent to, the subject line. So I might say Avid application 4, and then I could do first name, last name, and I can type in a message, whatever I want it to say. And then I'm going to go to next. And here's where I choose how this mail merge is going to occur. It needs a trigger. So normally, if I'm having people fill out a form, I can have it automatically create the mail merge. So that would be on form trigger. So once the form is filled out, it's going to trigger it to create the mail merge. Or I can do it on a time trigger. Maybe I don't want emails throughout the day. Maybe I want emails once a day. I could run it on a time trigger. Now step number 9 is the last step, so I'm going to say save. Now here, what I have is I can make it run, I can edit the job, I can preview the job details to see what my different settings are, I can delete this mail merge, I can email and share it, or change the form trigger. If I wanted to add new jobs, so if I wanted to set it up where there was a separate 9th and a 10th and an 11th grade, I can set up my new job here. I'm going to go ahead and close this window. And if you look at my spreadsheet, so before it was columns A through J, now there's a column K, L, M, N. They're kind of gray up in the header. These are automatically created once you run Autocrat. And here it says merge doc ID, Avid application, it has the URL. These need to be there. Don't delete these columns. Now we're ready to go and test this out. So I'm going to go up to my Google form, and I am going to fill this out as if I was a student. All right, so the student submits the form. As a teacher, what happens is when I go to the spreadsheet, I automatically get their information. Notice it's easy to see names and grade, but when I get to the information that they filled out to answer each question, it's a little hard to read. Now, what's going to happen almost automatically, it hasn't happened yet. Right now my merged docs, it hasn't merged yet, so K, L, M, and N are still empty. I'm seeing the lorem ipsum text that I typed in from column J. But now, almost automatically, now I have information that just popped up. I have the merge doc ID, and I have the hyperlinks here to their actual application, and it says the document successfully merged and a PDF was created. So now when students fill out this form, it takes a few seconds, but I automatically get the merge to occur because I set it up on form trigger. I can go straight to the document from this spreadsheet. So if I had a list of all the applications turned in, all the forms turned in, I can click on each of their documents. Now when you look at this merged document, look how pretty it looks. There's the right amount of space afterwards. Johnny Appleseed was in red because I had that in red, and it's just formatted really nicely. Now, I can access it from the spreadsheet. I can also access it from Google Drive. So in Google Drive, I created that folder where they're all going to live, and you can see it's right here. And this, if I open it up, it will be the same document. Now, I also had it sent to email, my work email address, and you can see right here, I sent an email. It says Avid application for Johnny Appleseed. Check this out, and it has the PDF attached. So this is Autocrat. It can save you, once you get it set up, it will save you a bunch of time and make really nice documents that you can print out, that you can look at to review the different applications or for whatever other uses you may use Autocrat for. It's great for certificates. You can email certificates to kids. So Autocrat is a really great tool. If you need to edit anything, remember that you can always go back to your spreadsheet, go back to add-ons, Autocrat open, and you can edit your mail merge if anything went wrong, or you can add additional mail merges to that same exact spreadsheet for different use cases that you may have. If for any reason something got screwed up in your merge, and let's say you have a bunch of information that you want to re-merge everything, you can. What you would have to do is just delete the information that's in columns K, L, M, and N, and then it will trick Autocrat into thinking that a merge has not yet been created. So what you would need to do to actually get them to merge, because it's not going to be triggered by a form trigger, is you're going to go back up to add-ons on Autocrat and open. And then when you hover over the merge, there's the little play sign. And what the play sign does, sometimes if I get it just right, it will say run merge or run job. So now when I click that, it's going to look for anything that does not have the information in columns K, L, M, and N, and it will run the merge for those empty ones that have not yet been run. So it found that there was one row that still needs to be merged, and then it's going to do that merge for that. It's going to create a different document, so if you go into your spreadsheet or if you go into the email, there will be multiple emails or multiple docs, sorry, not in the spreadsheet, in Google Drive. So in our Google Drive folder here for Autocrat Avid, now I have two of them. One was the original merge that I ran, and one was this new one. So I would want to delete the bad one that maybe I didn't name it properly or whatever reason you might have.